Welcome to aleister-nacht's Satanic Audio Blog. This week, the spiritual schism. I had a dream last night that was so vivid, I felt I needed to at least document my feelings before tossing it into the archive of meandering thoughts. I rolled over and took the pad of paper and pencil that I keep at the ready by my bed, and I began to write by the light of the alarm clock. After a few thoughts, I dropped the pad and pencil on the floor and rolled back into the covers. This happens routinely, and so I gave it no further thought until later this morning. Not remembering what I had written, I looked at the mostly empty page and read the few scribbled words. The spiritual world would be a good blog subject. That was it. That was all that was written at that time. It seems as though I wrote for over 30 minutes, but I had so little to show for it. After staring at the page for a few minutes, I decided it would be a good subject to write about, and so here we go. As with everything pertaining to life, there's a structure to the spiritual world. Sinister to almost comical, the cast of characters are for the most part entertaining and interesting. The spiritual world lies just beyond our human grasp, and while we interact with that world almost daily, we justify these awkward events as happenstance or coincidence. There are no accidents in the spiritual sphere, and dismissing these events further suppresses the third eye. And no, I'm not talking about a cyclops. The third eye, aka Ajna chakra, is the portal through which we gain a view to the other side, the spiritual side. If you were to ask 100 people if they believe in the spiritual world, statistically speaking, you would find that 94% of those 100 people said they do believe. But if you asked that same 100 people if they believed in ghosts, the percentage drops to 77%. Most people identify the spiritual world with their religious beliefs, and so, if they are devout followers of certain theologies, they want to reward themselves for their suffering, loyalty, abstinence, etc., from those things considered sinful. People tend to believe religious belief that they were first taught when they were young, and this is an example of the law of primacy. The law of primacy is equally applied to other aspects of human behavior as well. If a child is abused when young, statistics indicate that that child will continue that circle of violence by abusing their children or all children. Unlearning something is very hard to do, and without support and reaffirmation, learning seldom works. In keeping with this idea, if a child is reared in an evangelical church, for instance, with that belief system reinforced by friends and family, that child has little chance of raising a dissenting opinion. Like a flower in a desert, those ideas will wither and die. The reason for this long way around the village is so that you will know why you either agree or disagree with me as this post evolves. Those who have already decided to close their mind to what is about to be discussed do so because that is part of their psychological makeup, and that is who they are. Whether they reveal that to the public or not really doesn't matter. All I invite the reader to do is to consider what I am about to reveal and know that I have experienced the hidden world several times, and I am not afraid of what that future holds. I know what the endgame looks like, and I am okay with that. What about you? The spiritual world is vast and incomprehensible to the human mind. Try for a moment to imagine time ceasing to exist an infinite space that no matter how long you travel, you will never reach the end. Without boundaries, without form, without philosophy or reason, this is the spiritual world. If you meditate and truly use this valuable tool of meditation to expand your mind and experiences, you probably know and can identify with what I am writing at this very moment. For you have probably cast your eyes into that endless chasm of which there is no destination or measure. Meditation opens your subconscious and allows you to increase the one thing that exists in the spiritual world, and that is energy. Our world is formed, maintained, and ultimately defined by energy. As humans, we have learned to harness energy in metered amounts. We cannot harness the energy created by a thunderstorm, a bolt of lightning, a hurricane, or other displays for which our limited capabilities fail us. We can, however, create electricity to power things, manufacture fuels that will become energy-giving, and the very power needed to procreate life. We have a way to go to be totally competent in harnessing such energy forms, but we have made and are currently making progress. Humans had to believe these things were possible before beginning the attempts to attain that which was believed. If we can dream big in these areas, why do we dismiss other energy sources? We cannot see wind, but we do see the forces of the wind. We cannot see electricity, but we know it will kill us in an instant if not properly prepared. So, what about the spiritual world? We only use 10% of our human brain, and that is part of the root cause. The spiritual world is formed by energy, and there is only one tool that we can use to harness that energy, and that is our mind. We can exercise the mind through daily meditation, and in doing so, open the mind to higher levels of spiritual energy. Just as a sword maker spends countless hours harnessing energy and forging the steel to adhere to his or her will, the practitioner of magic invests time to harness the energy from the spiritual world and shape it into a useful force for his or her desires. The concepts are quite the same, and the instrument created will be as razor-sharp and deadly in both cases. The dark arts capture this energy and use it during magical rites, rituals, and operations. The energy, as stated before, is what causes the changes desired by the magician, and the stronger that energy, the stronger the magical workings. Through transference, the energy is brought from the spirit world into our limited three-dimensional space and bound by the magician to their spell or other process. There's no differentiation between good and evil, and for this reason, Anton LaVey was correct in his statement that there are no white magicians or black magicians, since the energy is the same. One is reputed to practice the art with love and kindness, while one uses evil and other negative drivers to deliver the goods. Energy is made up of positive and negative force, though, and without either one, that energy, for example electricity, would simply cease to exist. There are no white witches, nor are there black witches. There are only witches. What they do with that energy is beside the point. What is good to me may be bad for you, and vice versa. Not everything fits neatly into a nice little black and white package, so don't try to make it so. Memento mori. The thin veil of space that separates our world with the spirit world is known as Anamorphosis. The fact that one needs a special ability, also known as a tool, to get a clear, undistorted view is an example of how close we are interconnected with the other side. Some people occasionally get a glimpse through the metaphorical curtain, and they see events, past, present, or future, unfolding for their observation. When a person is in a psychological distress from pain, bad news, or other mind-altering events, they are more susceptible to this power. People near death are more attuned with what is about to happen to them, which is a defense mechanism for preparing the mind and body for crossing the energy bands that separate our worlds. Some who have experienced this phenomena describe it as a form of mental scotoma. It's a distortion of the logic sensors and the mind's eye, which in some cases are followed by an epiphany, physical manifestation of good or evil, dependent upon the person's spiritual beliefs or intuitive perceptions. When a person practices meditation, the cognitive strengthening of the magician's astral plane takes place. This is a good place to discuss this concept because it is essential to understanding our subject matter. Astral projection has been around for a long time, and those who master the astral plane can and do have huge magical advantages over someone without that skill set. Most humans remain in the physical plane and never progress further. You must believe there is more in order to find more, right? Astral travelers will know at least two of these planes, and the more advanced, stronger, and dedicated magician will often operate on several different planes. You can easily see why they are at an advantage over someone who lacks those skills, but does not believe in the astral world. Sleep and the mind operations that occur allow transcendental meditation to take place by opening the corners of the mind and allowing thoughts characterized as crazy or foolish to be thoroughly explored, investigated, and ultimately rationalized. The impossible, absurd, or stupid ideas become viable, achievable, and valuable during these meditation events. Many great thinkers and meditation gurus in history have gained mental and physical advantages through the use of regular transcendental meditation techniques. The Anamorphosis is a two-way door that can easily be opened from either dimensional side. You can enter or leave. However, it is just as effortless for other energy forms to access. This is where the good and bad are often misidentified, and for good reason. For humans throughout history, things not understood were often feared, and with fear comes a primal urge to either incarcerate or destroy. Until next time, this has been aleister-nacht. Visit my website at www.aleister-nacht.com, and until then, hail Satan.